Turn it up. I want to. Yeah. Yeah.
Just between you and me, this is love. There's no tricks. Ooh, this is love. Just between you and me, this is nothing. Ooh, there's no tricks. This love is. Just what do I have to do to let you know? Should I make your flowers grow? Should I make it rain or snow? Yeah. So many things I've done just for you. Forest green and ocean blue, just to show my love is true. Just between you and me, this is not. There's no tricks. This love is so real. Just between. This is not. There's no tricks. This love is so real, yeah.
Don't you know I taught the birds to fly on the stars up in the sky? Can you guess the reason why? Yeah. Can you take more than a passing glance? Nothing is by happenstance, yet you think it's just by chance. Just between you and me, this is not no tricks. This love is so real. Between you and me, this is not. There's no tricks. This love is so real. Ocean deep, river wide, valley low and mountain high. All creation testifies of my love. Summer breeze and winter snow, autumn leaves should let you know. In the springtime, every flower's bloom. It's all.
What's up, y'all? So
I do the same dance moves.
yeah, you really do. But there's only so much you can do in a chair, though, right? You know what I'm saying? You're chair dancing.
It's true.
What's up, y'all? So as you can see, I didn't hold out very long. I got to 3 weeks and like 4 days or something like that, and
Y'all,
I had
he
to
was
shave.
looking like a caveman. I was like, whoo.
I just couldn't look. When you can't stand the sight of your own face in the mirror, it's a problem.
And when
I
you
mean, I
asking
had-
your wife, are you still attracted to
Right,
me?
you know what I'm
Y'all, he
saying?
was asking me that.
I had scragglies all here and all down here and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, yes, babe, but
But she would always hesitate before she answered. You know what I'm saying? I said, "Are you sure?" Like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, okay, that doesn't sound very convincing.
it was just a lot of prickly things
So
going
so
on,
that
you
was
know?
the thing. The straw that broke the camel's back was that. Okay, you guys know I like intimate time, and I was trying to be intimate with my wife, and I went in close, and she was like, "Ow!" And I said, "Oh, what did I do?" She was like, "It's your face." I was like, "Oh man, really?"
Yo, his joints be, it's like knives, like I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
I gotta shave this
You got
mess.
to shade them
You know what I'm
joints
saying?
because
So yeah, so hopefully, anyway, so I got another 2 months of sabbatical left. Like I will hit 4 weeks on this Sunday, so I could do that
Already?
a couple more times. You know what I'm saying? What you mean?
okay,
no?
I don't need to think about the end coming. I'm bad at that.
Either way, so hopefully you like this. I was gonna put a poll up and ask you, should I go completely naked face? And I didn't do it.
I like naked face,
You
but
do.
the kids don't.
My children hate it.
So
I was like,
I don't know.
I don't know about
Kev
that.
on stage did it.
Yeah. And when I saw his, I was like, maybe I shouldn't do it. So what's up, y'all? Good to see y'all. Yeah, Primo, the guests were getting it too.
Yeah, the guests are getting down,
Madeline
too.
said, hey, Deidre. Lovely Rose says, good night from Trinidad.
Hey,
and Madeline
Lovely.
says, we're looking good. Well, she says we're looking God, actually. So that's even better than good.
Looking
You know what I'm
God,
saying?
yes.
And Lovely Rose, I thought you
Thank
weren't
you.
shaving. Yeah, I wasn't going to shave, but I had to.
Yeah, when
Primo
his friends
says,
start picking on him.
Primo
you
said
know.
it was not attractive, and I don't even look at John like that. Angie said,
Wow.
do it. She means naked face.
Yes, Angie, thank you. I think you
And
should.
Aaron Brooks said Kev was not
Oh,
real.
was it? Oh.
So, okay, so he actually didn't do that.
I thought he did.
Because I saw a reel of him today with his facial hair back.
It looked like an egg.
Oh, yeah. He looked like Mr. Potato. No, he looked like Humpty Dumpty. That's what he looked
Yes,
like.
Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this kind of looks weird, so it wasn't
Yeah,
real. Okay,
okay.
good.
Man, that's
Thanks,
good.
Aaron. Aaron be keeping us right. with
Carla,
this stuff.
what's the deal?
What's up, Carla?
Good seeing you. Haven't seen you in a while.
She just had a birthday.
Quinn, what's up, man? We need to come
Hey,
to DC.
Quinn.
Yeah, you do need to come to DC. But make sure you don't bring that Rona with you. Everybody that comes from the South, man, we like, hey, listen, y'all don't
Exactly.
respect Rona down there. You know what I'm saying? When y'all come up, you gotta make sure you get tested or something.
Oh,
And
it was
Aaron
an
said it
app.
was an app.
Well, we got.
Thank you for telling me. I had no idea.
Because I thought he shaved that joint.
Aaron, if you share the app with me, I'll use that app and I'll trick everybody too and make it look like you know what I'm saying?
You shave anyway, so it's not like it's a
Yeah,
trick.
I just don't want to. I don't know. You know, it doesn't take that, but what food? Also, coach is bringing MJ home too.
Babe.
Okay. Sorry, my son is texting us telling us on the way home.
All right, we got a good show tonight. I'm so excited because the single and fabulous people we have on are very fabulous.
They are.
Fabulous, okay?
What's up, Wanda?
Yes. Hey,
Camila.
Wanda. Hey, Camila.
What's the deal? Yeah, we're excited
So-
about and we're excited about our topic tonight. I think tonight is a very good topic.
It
so
is.
it's Black History Month. Last week we talked about interracial marriage, and this week we're gonna be talking about colorism. So it was interracial marriage. This is colorism and dating. And so even if you're married, obviously this will apply to you. You'll be able to chime in. But those of you that are single, in fact, if you are married and you have a single friend, or if you're on here and you're single and you have a single friend that you know needs to watch this, you need to share that right now. So share it with them.
Just share it anyway.
Just share it
Just
no
go
matter
ahead
what.
and share
You know what
it.
I'm saying? Yeah, share.
And tonight we are the sponsors
As usual.
for this show. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are starting the Just John and April Fit for Marriage Boot Camp. I can't see that though.
Oh, because it's
Can
in the
you,
way?
yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, this boot camp is designed for couples, that are dating, engaged, or married who never experienced premarital coaching. FIT stands for Focus on Intimacy Today. All right, we will be launching this boot camp this month, so look out for more information by following us at Just John and April on IG, Facebook, or YouTube. And it's gonna be great.
I agree.
You know, we're all about. We say people, put a lot of money and effort into planning the wedding, but not many couples put a lot of money and effort into preparing for marriage.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I
And
think
so,
I think we
we
spend
think this is
most of our
important.
attention on the stuff people can see, and the thing that
Right.
nobody sees that's on the inside happening in your home every day. We don't spend a lot of time investing in that.
Now, we
And
invest in the engagement.
Yes.
'Cause
that's public.
Because it's public.
And we invest in the wedding. That's
which
public.
is good.
Oh, that's great. I don't have a problem with that
Not
at
at
all.
all.
I'm saying invest in everything. Invest in the thing that really matters, which is the stuff nobody can see. You can fake like you're happy and then be miserable at home.
Yeah,
What good does that
that's
do
right.
for you?
Yeah.
So anyway, Fit Marriage Bootcamp. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a 8-week experience for those of you that need it. And so we'll get more information to you very, very soon. So everything's
Yes.
coming up right down the pike. So anyway, we're excited about tonight's guests, and we're not gonna take a long time going through a lot of banter and stuff like that.
Because I think this is going to be this might go over. This might go past our time, depending.
It depends.
We'll see.
It
Because the
might.
chime's going to be chiming in. I already feel it.
I know that already.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's why
They're-
y'all need to share this.
They're
'cause
already
we
lit
need,
and
we
ready.
need the chimes coming in, okay?
Okay, so first of all, let's just set up the topic real quick. So we told you obviously it's Black History Month, and we're kind of trying to deal with some issues this month that are germane to our people. And we talked about interracial marriage last week, and this week we're going to talk about colorism. colorism might be something that you are aware of or you're not aware of. We'll start by defining that a little bit later on. I asked our daughter a little while ago because she asked me what we were doing the show on tonight.
Oh, you didn't tell me about this.
Yeah, and it was just a few minutes ago. You were
Okay,
getting
what
ready,
happened?
and she was about to get in the shower.
Yeah.
And I told her what we're doing on colorism and dating, and she said, "Well, what is that?" I explained it to her. I'm not going to tell you. I explained it to her, and she said, "That's not really a thing in my generation. We don't really care about that."
Okay.
I said, "Oh." She said, "Well, yeah, because I didn't even know what it was." And then she proceeded to tell me about this guy that she follows on Instagram called Light Skin something. I can't remember what his name is. Light Skin something.
Yeah.
And I said, "Are you sure that colorism is not a thing for your generation?" And she was like, "Yeah, he's not really being like that." And then she said some of like his catchphrases and stuff. I was like, "That kind of sounds like colorism."
She
said something like he tells his audience, "Y'all being light skinned" or something like that. And that's the thing we say.
Well, that's the thing the kids say because I've heard them say
Okay.
stuff like that.
Isn't
Not
that
necessarily
colorism?
my kids, but the kids.
That's what kids say.
Yeah, they do.
So I don't even think they're aware of that. Well, I don't think they know the origins.
But I think they're kind of. There's more like joking around where they're all okay with it.
Probably.
But are they all okay? I mean,
Right.
it seems like they're all okay with that kind of.
Right.
Because like joking,
Yes.
making everything lighthearted. So it's a little different.
So tonight's subject really is colorism really a thing? Is there still a light skin versus dark skin thing happening? And there are, I think, variations of that kind of branch off from that particular thing. We'll talk about all that tonight. And we want to know from our guests whether or not this plays a part in their dating lives. And then we really want to know also whether or not our guests, we're going to ask them, do they have a skin tone preference? And if they do, what does that say about them? Is that wrong? Is there something wrong with that? Okay, so
Yes.
so I'm going to bring them up now. Here are our guests tonight. We have 3 of them. We should have some kind of applause or something like
where's
that.
the-
There's got to be some kind of, you know what I'm saying? I don't know where the sound effects
Come
are.
on,
We
baby,
got the
right
air
there.
horn. You know what I'm saying?
No, you got applause right there, babe. It says
That's
applause.
good. That's
A,
what's up.
Alphabetical order
We
right
do
there.
I like that. Yeah.
Sound like we're the Jamaican club there.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what we're into. You know what I'm saying?
Could y'all even hear the clapping?
You know what I'm saying? It might not have been loud enough. You know what I'm saying? So here are our guests. And specifically for Deidre. Okay, so I will introduce them starting to our top right. That is Deidre Etheridge. I think it's okay for me to use your last name, right, Deidre? There's nothing wrong with it.
It is now. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, okay.
It's out
Deidre
now.
hails. She's from Atlanta, or she lived there at least for a long time. She is now in New York.
Upstate.
I
Oh,
am.
Why? Bob said, I can't get no love for it. You know what I'm saying? It's in New York.
sorry, Deidre.
Wait, is that not New York? I'm confused.
Exactly.
Is it New
You know,
York?
That's what. Listen, I'm going by what this New Yorker says. Upstate and all that.
Okay.
You know, that's what these people from Brooklyn they always be like.
Okay.
Oh, upstate. You know what? That's just wrong.
The point is,
right?
I wasn't going to
I'm just
divulge that.
following
She's in New York now.
Okay.
And we are
Okay,
happy to
it's
have
all
her
right.
tonight, especially since she got a new job and she's very tired. She had to work. You know what I'm saying? So thank you, Deidre, for being here tonight.
Yes, we're happy
We're
for
excited to
Deidre.
have you. I will go to the bottom right underneath her is Claudia. Claudia Allen. I don't know if it's okay to say your last name, but you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good. Claudia also got a new job recently and probably is really tired too.
Yes.
I have no idea how you're feeling right now, but you know.
She's like,
I'm feeling like I really love John and April.
I was
Okay,
just about to
there
say,
you go.
y'all must love us because it's late.
I really love John and April. That's how I feel.
Oh man! So thank you for being here tonight as well.
Yes.
I probably should go back to Deidre and say, she's kind of like a sister. I don't know how I would
She
describe.
is a sister, not kinda. She's a sister, and the girl can sing, y'all. The girl can sing.
What's happening right now?
Yes.
So we have Chris. Go ahead.
No, so I need to say the same thing about Claudia though. Claudia's like a little sister too.
Claudia is.
And we've known her for a long time. We've actually known her since she was in,
I
I think it was
know.
middle school, but I'm not sure. I think
and
so.
I'm like, she's
I
so
think so. I
cute.
think it was middle school or high school, something like that.
Maybe it was high
The
school.
fact that John remembers me playing basketball lets you know this is a long-term
That's-
relationship.
Yeah, it's been a while. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes.
Yeah, but you were nice, so it's easy to remember you. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
And not
So
not
she-
nice for a girl. Like you were nice at ball. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
She's a
just in
baller
general.
and a preacher. I just happened to be on social media and just, going through. I see her. I mean, hooping. I was like, girl. She had me
she can
shouting in the bed.
And then we have Chris Whitaker, who is definitely like a little brother. No question about it. We spent a lot of time together as well, and glad to have you also tonight.
We should be sipping with the sibs right now because this is some siblings.
That's a good point.
I like that.
You know,
I like this hashtag.
You know,
Now, Chris, your job is new-ish. Well, let's put it this way: your position that you most recently got is definitely new because you get promoted like every other month.
right?
So.
He's like an all-around. He can do everything.
So how many months have you been in your new promotion?
Since November. Yes, I'm on the executive team now for a chain of outpatient clinics, or better known as federally qualified health centers, FQHCs, or community health centers. So yeah, I've been there. I've been there since about 2019, but I'm freshly in my new position since November of last year.
So everybody tonight is here has basically new jobs. They're tired as what, and they still came on. And we just asked them on
That's
Monday.
love.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
love
So thank
right
you
there.
guys.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate you being here, and
We have
We
to.
do.
we want to pepper you with questions. So let me just make sure. I got to go around just to make sure. Is everybody still single?
Yes. Ooh.
Yeah.
Single-ish.
Ooh.
Now hold on. Now you're not married. That's definitely true. But single-ish
So that's why
must
I mean-
mean
that's why I say that.
you
That's
must
exactly
mean
why I
you're
say
in a real relationship now.
Yeah, I'm in something. It's fresh. It's just 2 months old.
Okay.
But it's good. I'm enjoying
Is it
I'm
exclusive?
enjoying
Is y'all
We'll
still
talk
talking
after.
phase?
Right, the talking
all right.
phase. Y'all talking.
She said, "Is it exclusive or is it
dark
talking?"
skin? Sorry.
You said, is it exclusive? Say it again.
She said, "Is it
I said, is she light skin or dark skin? Sorry, too soon.
We might talk about that. Maybe we might talk about that at some point. So I will tell you, it is exclusive. But part of the reason that it's exclusive is just because right before I met her, I was in an intentional fast. So I was just like exclusive, period. Like I just wasn't talking to anybody. And we had a mutual friend of ours introduce us to each other. And and then, just to be honest with y'all, I mean, part of it is that, I'm enjoying what we're building. But another part of it is in this new season I'm in, I ain't got time for nobody else. So she takes up all of my time. So yeah, it's very exclusive.
Now you just said an intentional fast. You mean you were fasting from relationships? Is that what you mean?
From dating?
Yeah, I was tired of dating. I was tired. I was tired of the who are you? Where are you from? What are you doing? Like just the rhythm, the circle
process.
of that.
Yeah.
And that the process. Yeah, the first date. And it was getting a little expensive as well. So, I had took a break and just kind of focus on the transition of this career season and everything like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Hey, yes.
Thank you.
So the questions that we have for you guys are going to be, like sometimes maybe personal. And so you can say, hey, I ain't answering that online. You know what I'm saying? I don't want everybody knowing that. But, if you don't mind answering, hopefully you won't.
Yes.
And it'll be good.
Yes.
Question
so-
for us, we ready.
Okay, so the
Let's
first
move on.
question is, how would you define colorism? Because some people really don't know what it is, So, how would you define it? Let's we'll start at the top. Let's start with you, Deidre.
Okay, so I guess simply put, I would just say colorism is when someone has like a preference as far as like skin complexion, but usually like in the same ethnic group. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like in the black. Yeah. So I guess simply put, when you have like a preference for a light or dark skinned person, but you're all black.
Okay.
Simply put.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, well, I would say I think colorism, I would define it as the spawn of racism. So it's racism just manifested in another form, manifested within our community. And I'm intentional about saying that because I do believe that it is intricately, inexplicably linked to racism. It is a direct result of racism.
Wow.
But just to put it in simple terms, colorism is just the ideology that one particular shade of blackness is superior to another shade. And I would posit that because of its link to racism and whiteness, it particularly encompasses the idea that the lighter you are, the more superior you are. But just in a broader sense, that one shade is superior to another shade.
Okay. Claudia, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Deidre and Chris said. I think the thing that I would add is that prejudice is an integral part of colorism. So we're not just talking about, I don't like you because you're light skinned, but that I fundamentally believe that you are inferior to me because you are dark skinned. Or I am now putting in elements of power, access, opportunity, different things of this nature. And so now I am restricting you from access to things because I think or hold prejudices about you because you are dark skinned. And then also colorism is a spectrum in the sense that it is a system that is speaking to one's proximity to whiteness. So how close are you to whiteness, and then how far away are you from whiteness, and then your value is determined based upon where you fall on that spectrum.
Wow. So, I think it's probably important to, I probably should have done it in the beginning, but maybe you can just answer, Claudia. Tell us what you're doing now, because your new position that you have, I think, has you talking about these kinds of things and studying these kinds of things more regularly. So share that with us if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So I am the community outreach supervisor or senior management on the senior management team for the Howard County Government Office of Human Rights and Equity in the state of Maryland. And we protect and promote human rights.
So the issues like colorism, fair hiring practices, all those kinds of things are things you're very familiar with and close to.
Oh, daily basis. Literally, like we actually settle cases of discrimination in fair housing, in employment, in any industry, disability, anything that you can think of. If you live in Howard County, Maryland, and you feel like you experience discrimination of any kind, you can formally file a complaint with us, and our investigations unit actually investigates and does all the work of settling that.
Wow.
So now that we've, talked about what colorism is, I'm just going to come right out and say, have you ever experienced it? You guys, have you ever experienced colorism in your, just growing up? Where there may have even been where you felt uncomfortable or knew it was wrong, but didn't really know how to, when you're younger and you go through it, you don't necessarily know what's happening. Mm-hmm. Did you ever experience anything like that? I know I did multiple times, but I want to know from you what we want to know. Anybody want to start? Whoever.
Deidre and Chris are looking hard. I'm the highest yellow one on here.
Oh, that's fair.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
Didn't want to acknowledge it.
I didn't want to say it.
Now, hold on. Before you answer that, I do want to point out that colorism goes both ways in some ways. Remember, I just referred to this whole thing about being light-skinned. We have a saying, why are you being all light-skinned? I'm assuming you guys say that. Or you've said it before.
I've never said that.
You're light-skinned. You wouldn't say it.
I'm saying
the whole idea is
that's not true.
You're not light-skinned?
I'm talking about the saying. Oh. What I'm saying is that's not something that you would say either.
True.
Yeah. Because that's not, what I'm saying? That's
okay,
not
first
from
of all,
our time. So you're not going to just, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, you are correct about that. That is very true.
That's all I'm saying.
My only point is that I think it's possible to...
Wu said he never heard that.
Never heard what? You're light-skinned?
Why are you being so light-skinned? He said he never heard that.
He's definitely heard it. He never heard it about him.
No, he's never heard that because he's 45.
He is old. That is true.
You had to put his age out there like that.
Look, that's my brother. He knows.
Anyway, so go ahead. What you got?
Well, I'll go ahead and start off, and I'll start off because I have to say, I don't know that I've experienced colorism too badly, particularly because of where I grew up. I grew up in sunny Southern California, and I grew up in a predominantly white and Hispanic neighborhood. So I've definitely, hands down, been the victim of racism, hardcore, hands down, no doubt about it. I knew it then. As I process it back as an adult, I know it now. But I don't know that I have interacted in enough Black communities as a child to be able to have a whole lot of stories about colorism. And by the time I was really interacting with my people, was by the time I got to an HBCU where people were a little bit more cognizant and aware of these issues. So I, without a doubt, I have been on the receiving end of jokes, and I just want to, if I can, real quick, John and April. I mean, what you said a second ago, I do agree that colorism goes both ways, and again, that's why I talked about colorism from this broader sense. But overwhelmingly so, I would argue, and I'm open to debate. I would argue that a lot of times when we have those jokes about light-skinned people, it's not as connected to negative, inferior messages as it tends to be when we make these jokes against dark-skinned individuals or individuals with tighter curl patterns and things like that. You know what I mean? And so that's why, and I agree with Claudia when you talk about proximity to whiteness. I do believe that it goes both ways. I do believe that broadly, a light-skinned person can be colorist, if you will, or perpetuate colorism against darker skinned people. Darker skinned people can perpetuate colorism against lighter skinned people. But for the most part, I think embedded in colorism is that kind of monodirectional idea that lighter is better. But anyways, like I said, with all that said, I've definitely received some jokes, but nothing that I can say like, man, that was blatant colorist, and it just like really affected me,
So I agree with that. But here's what I would say. I would say that light-skinned Blacks from darker-skinned people are often made to feel like because they're light-skinned, they're sedity, or they are
it's a whole nother
bougie, or they're not really Black, or not Black enough. And now I'm speaking now for my wife, really. the thing that she received, walking into a room automatically being judged because she's lighter skinned, that she must be.
Okay, you get it right away. Like,
right.
I mean, just going, John being pastor, we started new churches right away. Mm-hmm. Like, you get attitudes from people. Mm-hmm. And because of what I've experienced my whole life, I know that's it. Mm-hmm. I hate to say that, but just like we know when we Black, we go around certain people and we know it's racism, it's the same thing with that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and they find out later, when I first met you, I thought you were stank.
Well, I thought you were stuck up.
I thought you were stuck up. That a lot. I get that a lot. I'm like, I didn't show anything. I didn't say.
I haven't even opened my mouth
yet. But Kim talking about what I missed. So you might, because Kim has several stories about this. My sister, who has light eyes and all that. When you get the light eyes and your hair is long and curly, you get it worse. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, for those people who don't know. So it is true. Claudia.
That's just an interjection, but y'all keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to defer to, since I'm like the white person on this panel. I'm going to defer to Deidre. Let her speak first.
That is hilarious. Okay, so for me, I grew up around all white people. Okay, there were probably like a handful, maybe like a handful and a half of Black people, like in my school, and I don't think I really realized it then because no one really picked on me or said any kind of racial jokes. I don't know if that was because of my stature. I was like 5'9" in the third grade, so I think they probably didn't want to mess with me. They were like, we're going to leave her alone. We're going to let her slide. But I did kind of notice, like, as far as, because in high school, or elementary, middle school, never had a boyfriend. I never had any type of, like, romantic interest from anybody. But the other Black girls in the school who did get all the love, all the attraction from the Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, they were fair skinned. They had the long hair. So I didn't even realize it. I was just cool with everyone. Like, oh, that's my homie. But I kind of realize now, they was like, yeah, we're not looking at Deidre, And I can't even directly say that it was because I'm darker complected, but I definitely noticed a pattern that the light skinned girls with the long hair who are the cheerleaders, they get all the love, and I'm just kind of bypassed.
Wow.
Even today. We'll get into that though.
Yes, we will. And I have always had I mean, when it comes to colorism, y'all, just since I was younger, I've always had a big problem with it. I mean, I think we should, but it's always just been, because I had friends who were called names because of their skin color, and I would get so upset and like say out loud, "You're wrong," like that's wrong. And I don't know. It's something that really has always been a thing for me. But I don't know. I mean, let's talk about the history, okay? Do you guys even, let's talk about the history behind it. Where does this come from? Like, why would our community of people, okay, we're talking about all Black people, right, have this issue within our own race?
Definitely. So I think this is when I come in. So colorism definitely started in slavery, when we're thinking about the fact that slave masters separated African slaves. Lighter, fairer skinned slaves were working in the house, and the darker skinned slaves were working in the field. And then there also came this narrative that the work in the house was lighter or easier than the work in the field. So darker skinned slaves are now beginning to believe that lighter or fairer skinned slaves are getting reprieve or better treatment because of their skin complexion. Whereas the lighter skinned slaves are also dealing with the fact that, well, I'm in this house and I'm getting raped every day, right? Part of the reason why I'm light skinned is because I am the product of sexual violence, right?
Wow.
But then once we get out of the period of enslavement and we come to post-emancipation into the Reconstruction period, the late 1800s, early 1900s, we start having lighter-skinned African Americans, individuals who are particularly lighter than me, who can actually pass for white, choosing to do so. And so whether that be as a means of survival, whether that be as a means of upward mobility, you have individuals who are outrightly saying, I do not publicly identify as Black if I can phenotypically pass for white.
Right.
So then you have more resentment from darker skinned African Americans who are feeling like, well, you actually get to choose which race you want to be today, and you get to avoid a lot of violence, as well as move through society and access a variety of resources and opportunities because you can pretend to be something that you are not, whereas I actually cannot do that.
Right.
Once we get into the 40s and 50s, we get what's called the paper bag test. This is particularly within African American communities where individuals are basically asking, are you lighter or darker than a paper bag? This is where you start getting individuals saying things like, you want to make sure that you marry a light-skinned Black man with good hair so that you have children that are lighter than a paper bag, or you don't want to be in a situation where you're marrying or engaging with someone who is darker than a paper bag, right? And then once we get into the 80s and 90s, I think is when we start getting stuff like School Days from, my favorite, Spike Lee. We start really dealing with the fact that, particularly with African American women, I think this is an incredible burden, and it's producing not just verbal violence, but is actually causing physical violence. So you actually have cases of individuals like myself and Deidre are getting into physical fights at school because I said something derogatory about Deidre's skin color or her hair texture, or Deidre said something derogatory to me about the fact that I'm light skinned and got curly hair. So now we are physically assaulting one another because of the color dynamics. And then, of course, this is all only continuing to perpetuate into the hiring practices that are outside of African American communities. And I think this is the part where I was going to add my perspective. I definitely have experienced what April has experienced, But I think the part that I want to add to the conversation that's also real is I know for a fact that I have been given opportunities because white people are more comfortable with me.
Wow. Wow.
So I know without a shadow of a doubt.
You can feel that.
Oh, I know that without a shadow of a doubt, particularly within Adventism. I know that I have been given on screen way more on-screen camera opportunities, way more just by virtue of the fact that I am light-skinned, because of how I carry my hair, whether I press it, put it in a bun, or do something with it that makes it look more quote-unquote tamed. You know, I know for a fact that that is also a part of my colorism narrative. So I can't just come on and say, you know, all the dark-skinned girls were mean to me when I was growing up. That might have been a true statement, but I think the other element of it is as well that my proximity to whiteness has also created opportunities for me that I otherwise would not have been given, saying the things that I say. And this is the other part. Y'all. Claudia Allen saying the things she says, the way she says it, as radical as she says it, and would not be allowed to do that as a dark-skinned Black woman. That's just a fact.
Right.
You would definitely get criticized more.
Yeah,
no doubt.
And they call me Beelzebub now.
No, I say to be fair, you do get criticized now.
Right.
Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's not act like you're not getting any criticism. But you're right.
But I want to say this. I'm glad you mentioned that because, and I know Chris looks like he wants to say something. So I want to make sure you.
Listen, I just want to say, Claudia, you better break that down.
Claudia,
can you give her the horn?
Y'all see why I was shouting in my bed?
You broke it all the way down, like the full history of it. Like, bruh.
Is that the horn? That's the horn you wanted for her, Chris?
Yes. The Jamaican horn.
Okay, so I want to say that the girl, I don't remember her name, from Guardian of the Galaxy. What's her name?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. The green, was she green or blue?
She's actually the same girl who's...
character?
Yes.
What's her name? You know the chime.
Yeah, Zoe. She's also in that blue movie. She's a blue person.
Right.
Yeah. What's
that's why I can't remember.
Avatar. Thank you. Avatar. Thank you.
Did you guys see...
Yes.
Did you guys see the video she put out? She was crying, basically. She was crying about the fact that she felt so bad as a light-skinned actor being able to get all these parts.
And she said
her dark-skinned counterparts are not getting the part, cannot get the parts. And she was crying because her mother is dark-skinned. And she was saying, she sees her, her mom as the actors who are darker skinned and not getting the parts, and it broke her heart. And she was just apologizing to them, because she's able to get these parts and they're not, which again is very sad because, well, I know that I'm seeing more darker skinned actors out there getting parts, which I love that. And, that's because now you have Netflix originals, Hulu originals, and they're doing that kind of stuff. But she is really, I wanted to show the clip of her doing that. So if you guys haven't seen it, you need to go back and watch it because it was very emotional for her. But that kind of goes along with what you were just saying. So you also mentioned, but before I go there, Deidre and Chris, did you want to say anything based on the history?
Listen, ain't no more to say. Ain't no more to say. She broke it down.
She definitely did.
So she talked about. Go ahead, Chris.
No. I agree. I'm with you.
Okay, so she talked about good hair because that is something that we've heard for years.
Have you ever said good hair?
Yes, I have. I have to admit, I have said good hair. Absolutely.
We all probably have.
I'm pretty sure at some point I've said something about good hair. I think so.
And more importantly, I've said bad hair.
Same.
I haven't said that as much, but I've definitely said.
No, I've said both.
Yeah.
I've said both.
So what does that say? What does that say about us? What does that mean? Like, do you still say it now? Do you try not to? Like, how do you police yourself on that?
I think that I have gotten way more educated, particularly with the current natural hair movement. I'd say that's been taking place within the last 10 years. That has done a lot of educating on the different textures of Black hair. but then also educating all of us on how to care for the different textures of Black hair. And so when you can see that, then you realize none of us have bad hair. All of us have good hair, and everyone has a different texture of hair. Your coil might be tighter than mine. My coil might be looser than yours. Your hair might be brown. My hair might be black. Your hair could be blonde. Whatever it might be, right? Listen,
show that bun.
we don't, it's more about, because I now have that context and that understanding, I don't say that anyone's hair is good or bad. I just say that, everyone's hair is different. And
Different
it's
textures.
beautiful regardless of how people choose to wear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think I necessarily really say, girl, you got good hair, because I actually hear all the time, Deidre, oh, you got that good hair, girl. Oh, your hair curl up like that, you got that good hair. And I kind of have to remind people, like, girl, you have good hair too. Because while my hair, and not to downplay my hair, but I say, girl, you can hold braids in your hair. My hair holds braids for 3 days and they'll slip right out. So I'm like, I try to, when someone says to me, like, did you have such good hair? I always try to, like, give them a return of, like, look at your hair. It's this, it's that. It can do this, it can do that. Because it's not that I don't like it. It just kind of makes me a little uncomfortable, because if you're saying I have good hair, I don't want you to think that your hair is bad in any kind of way. Like, I don't like that comparison. It kind of makes me like, thanks. Like, I don't really know how to even take it. So yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I'll say definitely been guilty of it in the past, for sure. Very appreciative of not only the current movements that we're seeing, but I'm appreciative of the language that's being provided, which you already mentioned a second ago. The looser and tighter curl patterns and things like that. Because to be honest with you, I think that's part of what we have struggled with in the past, is just having the right language, to describe the differences in hair textures and curl patterns. One thing I will say, and just, in full transparency, because I don't want to, pretend that, I'm woker than what I really am. But sometimes I do find myself slipping in my reference to Black hair when it comes to how easy or how difficult it is to comb through it. And so, in that sense, I have found myself slipping, and using, maybe good or bad hair, just not necessarily in the sense of like it's superior in beauty or superior in texture or anything like that, but in that it's easier to take care of or harder to take care of. So, one thing I'm hoping is I'm hoping that we can find new language as well, to not only talk about the looseness and the tightness of it, but also to kind of represent that difficulty and the difference of it.
I think you and I both have good hair. That's what I think.
I have great hair.
I was about to say, Chris, what
Good
kind of
hair, bad hair, great hair.
This is perfect right here. This is what we want.
So what it sounds like to me is that we have been, I don't know, is the word conditioned?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and now we've actually been educated.
Right.
I think Black people need to be educated as well, because we've been told what to think is good hair.
Right.
Exactly.
And so when you're told, or you see it on TV, oh, that must be good hair, then that's the way we have always tried to make our hair look like what's on TV, straighten it out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. When, growing up, you better not wear your hair natural.
Right.
What? Matter of fact, you straighten it so straight that you burn that joint.
Right.
Like, you take
Burn your
a
scalp.
comb.
Yeah.
And you straighten it so straight that it will not frizz.
When I walk into the room when my mom was doing my sister's hair with the hot comb, I would start coughing with so much smoke. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't even breathe. It's like
burning
toxic.
the hair.
You know what I'm saying?
Because we were taught that the straighter it is, the better it is.
Right. Right.
And there was no way you could go out with your hair just being
Right.
natural.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
What you about to
Go
say,
ahead,
Chris?
True.
Well, not to talk too much, because the hair is definitely a woman topic. But one thing I will say, though, is that's one of the things that I love about these conversations. Is I think a lot of people, especially people in other racial communities, have not understood how impactful these viewpoints and this language has had on our communities,
Yes.
the pain that our women have had to go through as their heads have burned with perm, or as they,
Yes.
as they deal with
Scabs.
alopecia and all of those things, right? Like these things have had real world ramifications for our community. And so that's one of the reasons why I love the fact that we're educating ourselves better on it, and that we're having conversations about it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, even to this point, I mean, we're talking about this at work because we're going to do a webinar on this, because one of the protected classes in the Howard County Human Rights Code is personal appearance, and hair texture and hair style falls underneath that. And so the funny thing was, when I interviewed for the first job before the promotion, I pressed my hair.
Just to make sure you get the job.
In 2021,
Yeah.
the people hiring me were Black.
Right.
And I pressed my hair to work for an office of human rights.
Because you wanted to put your best foot forward and make sure they knew.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You were safe.
It's completely internalized.
It's conditioned.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's not even just I won't say it like that. Like we genuinely are also not just treating other people badly, but we're also working on stuff within ourselves.
Yes.
Like, how am I showing up in space? Am I able to show up in this space? If I show up in this space most professionally, is that Claudia's hair pressed? You know? I know that I've done different things, been on different programs, and my mother will text me or she'll call me and she'll be like, hey, do you need me to send you some money so you can get a press? I have to text her like,
I did this on purpose, Mom.
I don't want that.
You can still send the money, but I'm not going to use it to get my hair pressed.
Like, why? Because we should do something, right? So there's a generational conversation that has to be had, and then there's also kind of like an internal conversation whenever you're talking about the hair situation in particular.
Yeah, and Saba just said, when I used to wear my fro while working at Essence in 2008, they would be like, oh, you taking it back to Africa.
Wow.
So you can't even wear your hair in a fro without somebody saying you taking it back to Africa.
Right.
With Black people.
Right.
That's
Essence magazine is a Black magazine.
Right. But we have been conditioned.
Right.
We have been taught how to think.
Aren't against it. The white people just want to touch it.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
Which no.
Yeah.
No.
I think
You
that's
cannot
something
touch
that we
No.
really need to kind of understand. I don't think it's that there are many white people who are not hiring or not reading you as being professional if you wear certain styles or wear your hair in a particular way. I think that that's really an African American thing. Yeah. White people are fascinated by it. They want to touch it. They want to be disrespectful in a myriad of other ways.
Right.
But it's really Black people that have put the label of unprofessionalism on our own hair and personal appearance presentation.
Wow.
So I mean, we could really talk about. Go ahead, Deidre.
I was just gonna say, it's interesting, that we're kind of all in new career positions, because I just started a job, and I'm like an executive assistant for a vice president of like a health system. And this is like corporate, And for those who know me, you guys know my hair. It has been purple, it has been blue, it has been pink, it has been all of the rainbow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just remember, when I was being considered for the position, and who hired me as a friend of mine. And I just remember him mentioning something like, you'll be fine, you're gonna be great, he made mention of my hair, like kind of like you might have to
tone it down,
ease on the hair. Tone it down. So like, usually I would want to like step into a new job with like a fresh little design on the side of my hair, but I was like, Deidre, you can't do that. So I came to the job. It was still blonde, but you see how my hair is like kind of mohawk now. I can kind of fashion it in a way where it kind of lays flat.
Yeah.
and it's just kind of curls close to my head. So I would wear my hair like that because I'm like, they not ready for this anti-gravity hair. They not ready for this, right? And I was so self-conscious. And I remember I mentioned to him like, I really like to wear my hair this way, but we can't do that, But slowly but surely I was like, hey, I'm here now, and
Yeah.
this is me.
Right.
So slowly, I start to pick it out a little bit more, give it a little more volume, and then I'm full mohawk now at the
Yeah.
job,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing to me that everyone is like, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair. It's so great." And I was like, literally stressing myself about my hair when really I should have just gone in there and been myself and just
Yeah.
Right.
not let my perception of how they would see me with my hair sticking up is how I just thought they would see me. She's here with her hair sticking up, So that was an
Well,
experience I had
yeah.
early on.
Dr. Paula's Kitchen says it's Barbie's fault. She's the standard of beauty, especially for little girls. So it starts off as a toddler, when you get in your Barbies. It really does. It lets us know how. But I love that now, you got the Barbies with the afros, you got the Barbies with all kind of natural hair, long and curly. So that is good that that's happening. But I know as a teacher, I really have a problem, and I don't know, maybe I don't know. But I really have a problem when the rules say that the kids can't do, like,
Certain
I mean, I
hairstyles.
was at a school where they couldn't wear a box a certain length. You know what I'm saying?
really?
Like those kinds of things, I think it starts there. And it says to the kids that is worldly or that is wrong. And it's their hair,
Yeah.
his hair grows up. You know what I'm saying? It don't lay down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you can't grow it the way that it grows naturally because there's something wrong with that look.
All right, so
That's a problem.
I think it's time to get into some personal
It is.
stuff now.
I'm sorry. We could stay on the hair.
Yeah.
Right, we're not gonna talk about. Okay, so
Sorry.
here's the personal question that I want to ask, and first of all, I want. Hopefully, you guys are willing to divulge this. Do you actually have a preference? Like in dating, is there a particular complexion if you are dating? Well, first of all, I'd love to know whether or not you're okay dating outside your race too. Might as well ask that question too. So, okay, so we're using race loosely. Obviously, we know race is a human construct. You know what I mean when I say that, though. We're just going to use it the way everybody else uses it.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right. When I said that earlier, I was thinking
But,
that.
but I'm woke enough to know that. Anyway,
Yes.
so when you are dating somebody, first of all, are you comfortable dating outside your ethnicity? And if you date inside, do you have a preference toward light skin or dark skin? And if you do you think there's something wrong with that?
And I'm going to go deeper and say, do you have a preference of what skin color you'd want your children to have?
Okay, that's even
Seriously.
Yeah, okay.
That's a thing, guys.
Yeah, well, clearly,
That is
but
a
they
thing.
may not want to
No,
tell
I
them.
know
But let's ask
some.
them.
I mean, you don't have to answer that.
But you can answer
I'm
all
just
that.
saying.
Answer as much of it as you want. Do you have a preference, first of all? And if you do you think there's anything wrong with that?
It's about Claudia X. Let's hear it.
That was Wu saying that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Claudia.
Okay, I can go first. I will say that so the first, I'm about to be 31 in 2 days. So
Okay.
I'd say the first 29 years of my life, I was not into interracial dating at all. Did not believe it, found it, in fact, to be extremely problematic to the growth and uplift of the community.
Yes.
That's how radical your girl was. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I have reformed
Uh-huh.
slightly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally open to Black people being in interracial relationships. I think that Black people should love who they love. Okay. That's it.
Okay.
Claudia has a preference for dark-skinned men. Claudia
Okay.
has always had a preference for dark-skinned men. Claudia's preference for dark-skinned men actually blinded her at first to who she ended up in a serious relationship. My last relationship was almost 3 years.
Wow.
I were the same close to complexion. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't ever remember seeing him. He came and said we had several conversations.
Whoa.
And I genuinely, like, my brain did not process him, let alone like process him as attractive. Like, I did not. I was like, oh, that's a man. I genuinely was only looking for dark skinned dudes, and I do think that as a child and as a teenager, I wanted to have children who were obviously black. I did not want to have light skinned children.
Wow.
I did not want to have kids growing up. You know, you're constantly being asked, are you mixed? Are you got Spanish in you? Are you white? Are you know, your blackness is
What
always
are you?
a question. Yeah,
Because you had to deal with that, and you didn't want your kids going through that same thing.
Right, yeah. Like, I was black. I was proud of being black, and I wanted my kids to be black. And so I really wanted to be with a dark-skinned guy. Now that we've gone through some counseling and dated some other individuals and a variety of other things, I definitely think that dark-skinned men are gorgeous. I'm gonna say that. If, you know, the Lord has for me a light-skinned man, Claudia, Claudia is here for the high yellow train. Okay, so we taking all the trains to Chocolate City, whether it's vanilla chocolate, whether it's milk chocolate, whether it's dark chocolate. So, yeah. That's it. To short end of it is, it's been a bit of a journey for me, but I can say right now, I'm open to everybody.
Okay. It's a good answer. Very, very open, very transparent.
Yes.
Hopefully the other ones will be the same.
All right, Chris, you're next.
Listen, I know one thing. I was not about to be first because it's more dangerous for me as a man to answer this. I know it's dangerous ground, as your boy on Star Wars says. It's a trap. So, you know, if you ask my friends, my friends would argue that my preference is lighter skinned women. I vehemently debate that, particularly because of just the array of colors that I have dated before, the array of colors in which I find beauty, and because one of the longest lasting relationships that I've ever been in was with a very beautiful dark skinned woman. We were together kind of off and on for about 6 years. And so, again, I contested, I debated, but some of my inner circle, they say otherwise. In terms of, by the way, so we mentioned at the beginning of this that I have been dating somebody for the past 2 months. She is a very dark-skinned, beautiful, very attractive woman.
Okay.
And so, again, to my point,
Yes.
You like 'em black.
I definitely,
You like them black. You don't have any problem with it.
I like a black man. I like a black, yeah. To the question about, other races, I'm a 32-year-old single man, and if God forbid, if this didn't work out, the thing that I have said to myself is, I, as much as possible, don't want to make the pool any smaller than it already is. And I do believe that love is love. However, with that said, I will say, I hope I don't get myself in trouble, but I do find, can I just say, the most beauty in Black women. Let me just say, I love Black women. I love Black women. I find Black women very beautiful in terms of just facial features, hair textures across the spectrum of curl patterns, body type, all that. I am a man. I love Black women. But I'm not, I have not limited myself, if God was to, lead me to somebody who was in another race. And I definitely see beauty in all shades. And I do believe, in just the power of love. I'm definitely open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Another very transparent answer. Now it's your turn, Deidre. You got to come with it.
What's the next question?
You better not hold. Don't
She's talking about
hold
what's the
nothing
next
back.
question?
No.
we're
We
still
didn't
on
know
the,
the answer to this one. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I have my relationship numbers very small. I haven't dated a lot of people, but I've talked to quite a few, different men. And honestly, they have ranged. There have been some very, very high yellow, and some very dark chocolate men. And I will say that as a preference, there's just something about a dark skinned man
Come on in.
that just I can't really explain it.
It don't need no
I just
explanation.
know it doesn't need an explanation. And maybe I want to have babies that have rich skin color as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Because I want them to be very proud of it. And not that I'm posed, like I would not date a light skinned man because my kids, and it doesn't go that deep.
Right.
But in my mind, in a perfect world, I would be married and having beautiful black babies with a beautiful black dark skinned man.
Hmm.
That's just how I feel about it. But
So,
like I said, would I be open to other races? Well, I have considered it only because I love my brothers. I love them so much with all of my heart. But a lot of my distrust, my pain, my hurt is connected to a black man. And sometimes it makes me feel like maybe if I leave these jokers alone, see what else is out there,
right.
then sometimes I'll say to myself, like, man, a white man will probably love me up in that. But I don't know if that's true or not. I've never gone down that road. I'm kind of scared to go down that road. But it's hard. I'm holding out. I'm really holding out. I can't really see myself dating a white man. Should he come along, I would probably give it a try. That I'm 37 and still single.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
If a cantaloupe came up to me talking sweet, I was, what's up, Mr. Orange? What's up?
No, honestly,
So
though, to what
yeah.
you were saying, though, Deidre, my brother read me several years ago. And he was like, Claudia, you like dark skinned dudes because I had so much pain attached to light skinned dudes.
Wow.
And so I do think that, that's very, very much so true. And I can say that I think part of my openness to dating and being with light skinned guys or guys that are my complexion is because I've, within the last 3 years, talked to or dated light skinned guys, and that has been redeemed in a sense.
So Wu says this. He says, research says that liking darker men has its roots in imperialism also. I don't know anything about that. But what I want to know is, here's the connection I'm trying to make, and I wonder if it's okay. I would like our audience to feel okay about having a preference or to feel bad about having a preference if there's something wrong with that. And if they should feel okay about having a preference, how do we keep our preference for what we like physically, how do we keep that from infecting the way that we think about colorism or think about lighter skin, dark skin, and that whole kind of thing? Is there still a light skin versus dark skin in my own mind if I prefer light skinned women? That's really what I'm asking.
Well, you have to ask I'm sorry.
Go ahead, April.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say you have to ask yourself why. Like, what's your
reason for?
Yeah, because
right.
I've been out of the dating world, of course, for years.
Have you?
But
oh, okay. Yeah.
But when I was in it, I did not go for the light skinned guy because the ones that I experienced always thought they was all that. I experienced what people said about me, like she thinks she all that, but I actually experienced that, like
because you tried it.
Right. They try to talk or whatever, you try to talk, and they, but I would go for who, I'm fine with all the colors, I really am.
Right.
I'm fine with all the colors. I just didn't have good experiences with lighter skinned guys,
right.
And they really didn't like me. Actually, be honest, I think I was mad because the ones I liked didn't like me back. So that's probably the light. No, seriously, the high yellow black guys
did not like you.
Never.
They don't ever like light skinned chicks.
And I actually went up to one like bold, like, yo, I like you. Let's do this. I was not really. I'm a very shy and introverted person, but I wasn't when it came to that. I was like, yo, do you like me? I like you. Let's do this. And he like, nah. Straight up, no.
Wow. Man.
And I was like, you know what? Light skinned guys don't like me. I'm done with them. Like, I didn't even look
You
at
know,
them.
I will say this now that I think about it. When I like, this is probably something I should think about in my head more often. But when I see a light skinned man, I consider him to be a player. I consider him to probably be a womanizer. He probably got all the ladies. He probably like the popular guy. And my preference is never the popular guy. The guy that comes in the room and all the ladies are clawing.
Yes.
You don't
That's
really
never
want
my
that.
interest.
Right.
Never.
So when
Yeah.
I see a light skinned man and he's flashy or whatever the case might be, I automatically think like, oh yeah, he out here just playing around.
So
That's
that's
really what
changing now, isn't it?
this is what I was talking about earlier. This is what I was trying to say. I think, Chris, there are some negative attributes that are automatically associated with the light skinned one.
Yeah.
That maybe don't equal, maybe they're not the same, maybe they don't keep you from getting a job or something like that. But within the black community, in my opinion, being light skinned is almost just as bad. Well, I don't know if I can rate them, but to me, there's a lot of negativity around that I've seen.
Talking about being light skinned.
Being light skinned,
It is.
you know what I'm saying?
And as a male and a female, it
Right.
is. But I don't think we do not have this conversation.
We don't normally.
Exactly.
Yeah. We
Exactly.
don't talk about this.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep. And it's good. It's a very good
very
conversation. You know, I want to jump on something that you all said earlier because I think it's very profound. You know, I actually believe that there is nothing wrong with preference in and of itself. I actually believe everybody has preferences. But what matters is that we are actively assessing the root of our preference. So, you know, if your preference is just, you know, rooted in just an innocent, you know, and you know, there's probably never, you know, anything that's not influenced by environmental factors. There's always going to be some environmental factor or, you know, media influence or things like that, and that kind of dictates and determines what we're attracted to. But ultimately, I think what's important is that you're constantly assessing your views, your stereotypes, you know, of people of certain colors or certain shades. And, you know, I don't know that it's something that we can do for another person. You know, I don't know that I can look at another person and say, oh, you're a colorist, you know, because again, that just might be their preference.
Right.
One thing that I can say, and one thing that has angered me as a man, as a black man, is that I can look at our culture as a whole and some of our pop culture and our music and our athletes, and I can pay attention to some trends, and it does seem like the trend and the music and the lyrics seem to imply that overwhelmingly we as black men do tend to see beauty more in lighter complexions. And that angers me. And a lot of our darker skinned women, our darker skinned queens, you know, do end up matriculating through school and, you know, having a hard time attracting a black man because it's so ingrained into our psyche, you know, by the music that we listen to. There's an artist, I'm gonna mention this right now, but I have to. I'm ashamed. I'm righteous, but I am ratchet.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
I have to mention my New Orleans rapper Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
As brilliant as he is, as much as I love his music and his beats, one thing that angers me is he perpetuates that so bad.
Wow.
You know, so many of his songs, he's, you know, talking about red bone this and red bone that. And I mean, it's very apparent that for him, you know, he sees superiority, you know, in lighter complexions. You know, I've even heard it from your boy Jay-Z and, you know, some other artists, my boy Wale and some of these guys, man. And some of them are changing, and I hear that, you know, their language is changing. But that's what I'm concerned about most is, you know, what our internalized colorism is within us. You know, the colorism that exists in our pop culture, the colorism that exists in our black men who are in the spotlight, you know, but as long as we're constantly keeping that in check, I think there's nothing wrong with preference.
Yeah.
Getting people saying, I appreciate Chris's honesty.
Yeah, people saying,
are,
thanks, Chris, for speaking out on this. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
You know, keep it real. You know, this is deep. I'm just thinking about this. Wow. Go ahead,
Claudia.
I think that, so full agreement with Chris in the sense that I think that there's a difference between a a preference and a fetish.
I think Wu
And
asked about
so
this earlier.
I think that you can have preferences, but if your preference is a fetish, meaning that there are labels and there are belief systems that are attached to the preference. So whether that be a black woman, a darker skinned woman is going to perform a particular way sexually. A darker skinned man has certain kind of genitalia. A lighter skinned woman is going to do X, Y, Z. Like we also have to deal with the fact that a lot of stuff, and I think this gets back to Wu's point about imperialism, in the sense that going either direction, particularly when we're in the land of fetish, is problematic either way. And so I think we want to just make sure that, you know, our preferences are rooted in potentially our lived experiences. They're rooted in the fact that, man, my mother is in reality, my mother is a brown skinned woman. She's not light skinned. My father is very light skinned. My mother is brown skinned. For the longest time, I thought I was brown skinned, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was at
Me
the
too.
age
Me too.
of good old
Hey,
20, 25,
problem.
26, when a friend pulled me aside and was like, "You are fully using the wrong foundation. You are not this dark. You are fully bright. Receive the brightness." Like I didn't.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much that I had a problem with being light skinned. I just generally thought me and my mama was the same color. And so I think that, you know, we just want to make sure that we're really processing our pain, processing our experiences, processing the fetishes, the media that we've been given. You know, as you guys were talking, I was also thinking about Tyler Perry. And
Girl, I was just about to mention him. Oh my goodness.
I love a good Medea movie. I do, because I'm a little hood too.
Yeah.
Tyler's got some problems.
Yes.
Okay? If you are light skinned and educated, then you are extremely disrespectful. You are arrogant. You are prideful. You're a player. If you're a man, you're a womanizer. If you are dark skinned and male, you are an abuser, physically or verbally. If you are a dark-skinned woman, then you are always in a subservient position, meaning you are always a kind of a labor worker, or you are uneducated, or you are always being, you need to be rescued and helped up in some means or capacity. So we've really got to deal with a lot of the labels that have been put on all of us, regardless of our skin color, hair texture, and the things that we think about one another. And really get to a place where, and this is, you know, I always say this, individualism is a part of white privilege. Whiteness has the opportunity to walk into rooms and show up as itself. They show up as Chad. They show up as Todd. They show up as Sarah, right? Blackness always has to show up as the collective. Whether that is light-skinned blackness always has to show up as the collective. Dark-skinned blackness has to show up as the collective. And so there's never an opportunity for us, let's say me and April, to recognize that, listen, like the one light-skinned dude that didn't like us in the 5th grade is not indicative of every single light-skinned dude that we would come in contact with, right?
I got like 5 though.
The one dark-skinned guy that gave me attention, you know, in the 9th grade is not indicative of every dark-skinned man, right? And so what if we entered into dating and relationships and just engaged with one another within the community in such a way that I am interacting with Deidre, I am interacting with Chris, I am interacting with John, I am interacting with April, and kind of give Black people back their power, give one another back their power and their agency to be individuals who have preferences and who have opinions, and whose opinions, experiences, and preferences are not always attached to the labels that the collective has unfortunately been given.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Girl, you're getting a lot of preach, you know, and I've seen this.
I need a Claudia X T-shirt.
Right.
That's what you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I've been seeing a lot movies, media, and it's true that in the in the media, in the movies and all that. And I'm so glad you mentioned that because I was going to say something about that. We see that all the time. The dark-skinned girl or the dark-skinned, they're the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The light-skinned dude, he's the play. It's just like the light-skinned girl is, the what do you call it? What do you call the girls that's always following after the basketball
It's like
players?
a groupie?
Groupie.
Yeah, they're always the
Groupies,
groupies.
yeah.
They're always
We
the
have no
groupies.
brains. We're
No
like
brains,
blonde.
unicorn.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody has the negative. All of the shades have these negatives, and it's like, why do we do that to ourselves? And I think it's because, like you said, back in history, back in slavery time, that's where it started, and it's in us, y'all. And so the big question is, do you think that? I don't know where my question is.
Do you think it's worse for
I knew it was here, but I don't know where it is.
Are men worse to women
That's
on
it.
this?
That's
Is it
it.
Are women worse to other women?
Yes.
Is it
Is it
black
more
men
women to
other-
women? Is it more men to women? Or is it just everybody?
Yeah. When you see colorism played out, where do you think?
Let
you
me just
find
say
it
for
most
me, while
often?
y'all are thinking, I feel the worst is women to women. That's just my and maybe it isn't, but maybe because my experience and what I've seen, we are just really black women on black women. It's just when it comes to colorism and many other things. I'm gonna say hair is really a big deal with us. I think all of that, we have a lot of baggage when it comes to that as women, and that's why I really do not care for. I've been watching the show just because my friends told me to watch it, but I don't really like it. And I really like the main actress because I just like her.
Because her name is April in another show.
In another show, her name is April, but I do like her though. But
the show is called People Like Us.
Yeah, is it called People Like Us?
I think so.
Okay.
And I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's on Fox.
Oh, it's on Fox.
It's not People Like Us.
What's
it's
it called?
Oh, This Is Us?
No,
not This Is Us.
She loves This Is
See,
Us.
you messed me up,
Yeah,
babe.
yeah.
It's not People Like Us.
Sorry.
It's a black show.
It's about like. Anyway, the show has us fighting each other as black women.
Okay.
And it's just bad when it to me. And I like good writing. To me, it's just not good writing or great acting either. But I'm just saying the theme of the black women fighting each other, and her hair look better than hers, and you dressing better. Just the whole thing. I just feel like it feeds into our, the baggage that we have as women on women, black women on black women.
Our kind of people.
Our kind of people.
That's what it's
Have you
called.
guys seen that?
Thank you, Latoya.
And the reason why you haven't seen it is because it's not great writing.
Okay, yeah.
But I watched it
Many
because
try
my
to say,
friend.
Many try to say we are the people. It's our kind of people. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And Aaron
And-
Brooks said it too.
Yeah, and I just don't. Just watch a couple episodes just so that you can see what I'm talking about. It's just not, to me, it's just not good.
Dear White People is good on this topic. You're right. Dear White People on Netflix is so good on this topic and everything around intra-black culture. That is true. That is good with
So
that.
I messed up. So go ahead, guys. You go ahead and share. We'll start with Chris.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm willing to rank. I don't know that I have enough evidence for it. But one thing that's coming to my mind, even as I'm listening to you all talk, and as I'm just like thinking about my experience, I want to share. And to be honest with you all, I'm a little embarrassed to share this story because it's such a just a gross story to me. But I remember one time I was at camp meeting. In Orangeburg, South Carolina, South Carolina Conference. Yes, indeed. The Oberg. And I was dating a young lady at that time, and a friend of mine, who lives a pretty good distance from me, but lived within the South Atlantic Conference region. By the way, for those of us who aren't Adventist, South Atlantic Conference is the governing body over the churches in the North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia states, and particularly the Black churches, Black and Latino churches, and French as well, etc. But we were in Orangeburg, and he heard that I had a girlfriend, and all the young people were congregating in the gymnasium. And so he was like, "Hey, I heard you have a girlfriend. Is she here?" And I was like, "Yeah, she's in the gym." And he was like, "Yo, show me where's she at? Where's she at?" And so I was like, "Okay." And so I'm like moving through the crowd. I'm trying to find her, and I see her in the distance, and I tell him, "Oh, there she is over there." And I point him in her direction. And he looks at her and he looks in that direction. He says, "Where?" And I said, "There she is, right there." And I'm pointing directly at her. And he says, "Oh, her right there?" And the person that I was dating at that time, she was a darker complexion individual, tighter curl pattern. And he looked at her, and then he looked at me, and he said, and he did just like this. And I will never forget this. And this stuff just stays in your mind as a man for some reason. But he looks at me and he goes like this, just like that. And then he turns around and walks away.
No.
What?
You do not have to reveal it on the show tonight, but you will tell me after. Listen to me. Listen to me.
This one-on-one just between us.
As soon as the show is over.
Why? Because you think you know who it is?
I think I do know who it is. As soon as the show is over, you are telling me who that is.
Put it in a group text.
I just want to know. Can you explain what the...
Please explain.
How did you... I know what that meant. How did you interpret the wink and the gun?
Well, I'll tell you. So I caught up with him later on after that, and I said, "Hey, what did you think of her?" I asked him for his opinion, and he said, "Well, I thought you were like me. I thought you dated beautiful, lighter skin and white girls."
Wow.
Just like that.
Oh, well, it got really explicit.
Just like that.
Really quick.
Just straight up. No,
Yeah.
wasn't embarrassed to say it.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
My sister told me add me to the text.
This is my youth. I
know, right?
We had not made the.
No, I'm just like, wow.
Wow.
Saba said, I wish you could see my face.
Wow.
I'm saying that to say, again, I don't know which one is worse, but I know colorism and even racism is really still prevalent among Black men. And, the unfortunate thing about men, and John, you may be able to attest to this, but, men, because we are, we're accomplishers, if you will, we're always like hyper focused on if we have the approval of our boys.
True.
If our boys approve of our job, if our boys approve of our income level, if our boys approve of our partner, that matters hugely to us. Wow. Right. And there was definitely a brief season afterwards where I kind of like was second thinking being with her, as a result of what he's shared with me.
Yes.
And so that bothers me. That's that, and for that reason, till this day, this is something I'm very passionate about. I'm saying, man, we gotta do better in the Black male community and make sure that we are uplifting our sisters of darker complexion, and that we, in our conversations with each other, not just in public spaces, not just when it's cool to be woke, but when we're having conversations with each other as men, when we're having locker room talk, when we're just talking as dogs or whatever, we gotta make sure that we are pushing and keeping each other accountable and letting each other know, is this an organ? Is that what's happening here? I don't know. I do not know what's happening.
You preaching.
Bring it.
In other words, all that to say, Black men, we have got to do better. We've got to do better.
Yeah.
I agree. Wow, that's a good story, man. And you're right.
Wow.
So you're not saying you're not ranking it,
goodness.
but you're saying based on your experience, for you, it's
bad.
Black guys that are the perpetuators of this.
Sure.
And that have the biggest impact on you, at least.
Yeah, from my vantage point.
What about you, ladies? What are your thoughts?
I would have to agree with Chris that I definitely believe that, and this is just my experience because I have a lot of male friends, a lot of, male Black friends. And I jokingly, when they're like, yeah, D, there's this girl, she's beautiful. I'd be like, let me guess, light skin, long hair. And honestly though, 8 times out of 10, when they show me the picture, she light skin with long hair. And I know that's like just what they're kind of geared to be attracted to. But also, I think I can probably count on like half a hand the amount of Black men who have made a positive reference to my skin tone.
Wow.
Like every time I have heard anyone make a mention like, "Ooh, I love your skin tone. Ooh, Deidre, your skin tone," it has always either been a woman oftentimes a lighter skinned woman who and still look at my like, oh my gosh, girl, I wish I had your skin tone. And I look at her like, are you trying to play me right now? Like, you really,
Oh.
because it makes me feel like, are you really saying that? Or you like, I don't know, for some reason it just makes it very hard for me to believe when she's fair skinned, she has the hair, she has everything that is quote, acceptable, and she's looking at me like, oh, I wish I had your skin tone. It makes me look at her like, who you trying to play?
Right.
Because
Right.
Right.
I don't hear that very often. And I probably know three, maybe four men who I'm close to who their preference and their only woman that they will date is a dark skinned woman. Only like
That's what
three,
that
three
many.
of them
Yeah.
Wow.
out of 50.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So you feel like, in your experience, it's
It
the
is
guys as
guys.
well.
Okay.
You think it's worse from guy to
absolutely.
girl or whatever.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Claudia?
I would have to. So there's a part of me that feels like they can't be compared because I think that they manifest differently.
Okay.
So I think that, like, but I do agree with Chris and Deidre in the sense that I do think that the women to women thing has calmed down.
That's
Okay.
true. That's
So
true.
I think that within the last 5 to 10 years, light skinned women and dark skinned women have been more intentional about trying to heal that, fissure and, complement one another and see beauty in one another and stop comparing themselves to one another. So because I'm aware that that work is being done between us, I do agree that I don't see no work on the part of the brothers. I do think that there is that still reigns and rules supreme
I agree.
in that sphere. Now, I do want to throw a wrench in the game
Okay.
because I want to say her name right, Amarachi.
Yeah.
Amarachi put a question in the chat a little earlier, asking, has my dating experience been reflective of these light skin preferences?
I saw that.
The answer to that question is no. So, and I do know of several other light skinned women who feel like dudes don't step to me, guys don't actually like come up to me. And so you'll have these situations where you'll have dudes in a group who will talk about the light skinned chick and she's super bad and she's all this and da 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 da. But there's an intimidation factor for some reason. So they don't actually go up to the chick that they think is the baddest in the room. They don't actually approach the prettiest chick. They think these thoughts in their mind and then they approach someone else who they feel will be receptive to their advances.
Wow.
So there are plenty of light-skinned women who have actually not been approached, who don't have an extensive dating history, who have not just been out on the town all night with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, all because they're light-skinned with long hair. And so I know for me, one of the things that I've all often questioned, with my own light-skinned and attractiveness and whatnot, your girl is black, but she ain't built like a black girl, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And so a lot of times we light-skinned chicks, we ain't bow, 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 body, yada, yada, out here. Right? And black men, regardless of skin color, like body, yada, yada. From beginning to end. And so I do think that there is a little piece that we're also kind of potentially getting lost in the thinking and this kind of imagined problem that all the black men want all the light-skinned women because they're light-skinned and long curly hair, and maybe you got green eyes like April's sister. And the reality is me and April's sister ain't been on dates in years. And all these men's is taking out all the chicks with the body yada yada,
Right.
regardless of their whether they're medium complexioned or whether they're dark skinned or what have you. And so I think that there's also a piece of that in that, you know, and maybe it's our own insecurity as light skinned women, you know, that, you know, because our blackness is always in question. You know, there's often also kind of that aspect of, well, you don't look black in the face. Your hair isn't giving me black. And then on top of that, your body isn't giving me black.
Wow.
Right.
So what are you?
Right.
So what are you giving me at this point? You know, like you don't seem to be serving much of nothing. So I'm not all that interested, you know? So I think that I just
you can see
that wrench.
What you said earlier, you can see that you feel there are implications of your skin tone and your ability to get invited to do things, to be on camera, whatever job you have, stuff like that. But you don't necessarily see that translated in your dating life.
Not at all. Never, not once in my life. Though now I did run a test.
Okay.
I got on the people's dating apps, y'all. This is maybe between, let's say, August and September of this past year. I didn't last long, saint to the Most High, because I'm old. I might be 30, but I'm 97 in my spirit, and I ain't got
Yeah.
And so I went on the people's dating apps, and one of the dating apps allows interested parties to reach out and like or connect with you by commenting on a photo. And so last June, I colored my hair and I went blonde-ish. And so there was one picture that, based on the angle and the lighting, I was like, you know, like, I know I'm high yellow, but that picture shocked me. Even I was like, dang, ooh, I thought I was blacker than that. I was blacker than that. That picture. But then there's also another picture where my hair was out, down, fully in the big curls, and it was black, no dye. And what I noticed on these apps is black men, darker skinned black men, liked the picture with the big natural hair, black. They tried to reach out to me through that photo. Lighter skinned men, white men, Asian men, Hispanic men, all wrote into me through the picture where, quite frankly, I looked white or very close proximity to white.
Yeah.
So at this point, Claudia became W.B. Du Bois, the sociologist, to care about, you know, meeting any man. I really needed to see how many of these individuals, you know, would go in this direction. And I really found that black men tended to go with the natural hair look, black hair, photos of me where I looked black, and it was other races that approached or were more attracted to me in photos of me where my blackness was more subdued.
Wow, that's a very interesting test.
Well, you know, I just have to say that if you look at that commercial with Serena, and I love Serena and Venus, by the way.
Yes.
But anyway, and I did not like this commercial because she was playing, you know, regular, you know, she was doing her tennis thing. And then when she had to now go and be the hero.
It was Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. All of a sudden, her hair was blonde, it was straight, and it was, you know, and I was like, wow, those subtle things, I think, says to us, that is beautiful, that is strong, that is, you know, that's the hero. And it's sad, but that kind of stuff, I think, gets into our minds, and we don't even know it.
Right.
And that is why we pick that picture. That is why we pick this or pick that, you know.
So I want to put a comment up here. So interesting. This is Amara that said this. The intimidation factor. It's all about perspective. As a dark-skinned woman who is also highly educated, it seems like two strikes.
Ooh.
The educational intimidation factor and the skin color preference factor.
So listen, we can do a show on just that education factor.
You're right.
And we can do a whole show on the whole, what did you call it? Bodylicious, what is it? Bootylicious, whatever?
Not bootylicious,
Body
body
yada. Okay.
Saba said that's be the next one. The next episode needs to be body yada 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 versus nada yada yada.
No, that's a whole nother thing, y'all. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. And women, if you notice, the poor woman.
Poor woman?
I'm saying the women, we get the brunt of all of this.
Right.
Men, they gonna get picked by anybody.
Right.
Men will get, it don't even matter.
That may be
They're
true.
not getting picked. They have the power to pick. They
have the power
do
to
the
pick.
picking.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do the picking. They can choose. It doesn't even matter.
Right.
So
Okay, so we went very long tonight,
We
we
did.
thought we might. It's already 10:30. So what I want to know is, do any of you? I know, right? So I know you guys are going to bed kind of stuff.
Right.
The question is, do any of you have any parting words? What I really want to know, what message you would send to someone who is single like you, who may be dealing with colorism. Either they themselves are perpetuating it or they're the victim of it. Pick one of those and speak to that person. What would you like to say to them about the relationship between colorism and dating? I didn't put that on the original question thing, but this is our go around the horn. Whoever wants to go first, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to call you out and make you go first or anything like that. But what would your message be?
Let me get a perm before I have 934 children.
Well, okay. I'm still kind of mulling over how I would answer that question.
Yeah.
But I did want to say, I think this was good for me because, when you asked me to be on the show, and then I know I was going to be on the show with Claudia and with April, I said, okay, Deidre, you got to represent for the dark-skinned girls because it's 2 against 1.
And that makes me want to say, do you know that makes me want to say, it's funny because I've been dealing with this my whole life. I am not that light skinned. Like I've always been fighting that. Like
You
I
are.
am not that light skinned.
April, yes, you are. Why are you saying
no,
that?
but let me tell you seriously. But let me just say
None of the negatives, but you are.
No, seriously. When I had my daughter, I was so happy when I said, "Wow, she's brown." I'm so happy she has some color. I did. I was so happy that my child.
Because you didn't want to have to go through the same thing you went through.
No, just all, and I'm saying I'm not on the other end either, but I saw that, with darker skinned girls, what they had gone through. I saw that too and didn't like it. I don't like either one of them.
Your sister says, April, you high yellow.
Anyway,
This is your sister.
I
April,
do not.
you is
April's about
high
to go
yellow.
off.
She's high yellow. I will never. Anyway.
So back to Deidre. Go ahead,
Anyway,
Deidre.
I'm sorry, Deidre.
You were like, I'm about to get ganged up by the light-skinned girls.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really like, okay, we're going to talk about colorism, the plight of the dark-skinned, black woman. You have to defend all of these things. And, this really opened my eyes to, I guess, the other side of things that I really have no idea of. When you were speaking of the lighter skinned women automatically being perceived as being uppity and, in my head, in my head, a light skinned woman with long hair, you living the life. Like you living the good life. Honestly, to be very honest, you living the life. You getting the jobs. You can get any man you want to. You're the golden ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was good for me to just be here on the show and just kind of hear the other perspective that really, because it's not my experience and I know what my life has brought me and taught me, it was really eye-opening for me just to kind of hear the other side because I was just ready to, okay, let me hear about these light-skinned women problems. Okay. Talking about, we're so light-skinned. It's hard. I really think to myself, like, what could be so bad?
Yeah.
You have all, in our community, you have the privilege.
Right.
So
Right.
I think this was educational for me as well as a dark skinned woman, I was really ready to be on my defense. Like I was practicing, like, I disagree. Like I was about to be aggressive out here. I was like, calm down, calm down. So I just want to thank you for the platform because it really
Yeah.
did kind of
Yeah.
open my eyes to some things too. Because
That's
even
good.
my niece, she's biracial, and my sister and my niece is very quiet. She doesn't really like to talk to people, and my sister was kind of like nervous about her going to school because she's gonna be this quiet one. They're gonna automatically assume she's stuck up because she light skinned, she got the curly hair, she's really pretty, she this and that, and she don't really like to talk to people. She was like, oh, they automatically gonna think she's stuck up. And I was like, I guess there's the other side to the coin that I just really didn't even know about.
Saba said, "This is why Deidre is a gift to the body yada yada of faith."
Oh.
That's a good perspective, though, Deidre.
Yes, and you can put Amara. She said, "Yes, Deidre, I feel the same way."
Yeah. So you got some people agreeing.
We have
with
to
you
have
here.
conversations in our own with our own people, y'all.
We do.
Yes.
All right. So what are your parting words, guys? That first of all, Deidre, I think that was a very good parting word. To be honest
Yes,
with you.
that was excellent.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I'm gonna jump.
You know.
I'm gonna jump in because I don't want to say anything after Claudia.
Yeah. That's smart.
We're not
I
ready.
want to make
We're
sure.
not
Let me
ready.
get this out now. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged. I'm optimistic. I see evidence of progress in the movement, in the conversations. On social media. And even in the media. I watch a lot of CNN and things like that, and even hearing how they're starting to talk about race and some of the shifts that's happening in media. I'm encouraged by some of the progress that we are making as a people. But the biggest thing that I want us all to know, and that I would say to the individuals that you all mentioned in those scenarios, and to all of us that are listening, is we still have work to do. We still have work to do within our community, and racism. It's rooted deep. It's like liquid. It's going to fill in all the cracks and all the crevices, and we still have a lot of cleaning out to do. But to the person who is dating, who's struggling with it, either in perpetuating it or being a victim or a recipient of it, it's up to you to do your own work internally within yourself, or it's up to you to stay encouraged, to know that no matter what happens, no matter how difficult it's been, as you grow, as we grow as a people, I am optimistic. I do believe it gets better. So just make sure that you're continuously focusing on yourself and making sure that you are the best you that you can be.
That's a good word.
Yes.
You got some people agreeing with you, and Wu said Chris represented the brothers well. So that's good. So I guess he feels like you spoke well for him tonight. What you got, Claudia?
So one of my favorite James Baldwin quotes, you can see him there afar in the distance above my head. He says, "Love takes off the masks we fear we cannot live without. And no, we cannot live within." And if there's anything that I would want to tell somebody tonight who feels like they're in the dating realm and dealing with colorism, it would be to treat that revelation as a red flag. And I don't want to be with anybody who wants to be with me because I'm light skinned. And I don't want to be with anybody who doesn't want to be with me because I'm light skinned. This is not a revelation of anything that has to do with me. It's everything that has to do with you. And I think that relationships are about loving the authentic person, loving the real person behind the masks, behind all the labels, behind all of the societal and communal collective identities that we all have to carry and bear. And so love is supposed to be an escape. Love is supposed to be a resting place. Love is supposed to be, restorative. And I want somebody who is going to kind of move beyond whatever the label or the mask is and get to the core of Claudia and say, man, like I am attracted to Claudia, like the way that she speaks, the way that she thinks, the way that she operates, like what her passions are my passions. That's what I want a person to fall in love with me on. And if you're out there in the dating world with me, that's what I would want to encourage you to find in somebody. And if somebody reveals anything other than that to you, then they are simultaneously revealing to you that they are not the person for you.
Wow.
True.
That's good.
That is good.
So Michael Sheldon says Claudia can have all my tuition money right now. So I guess he wants to sign up for your class immediately, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? He said she's woke.
Y'all got me out here trying to be a Umar Johnson and start schools that I never start. I'm not here for that.
Wow. Well, guys, I'm gonna say again, having this conversation, we always talk about having the conversation with white people.
Yeah.
But we are not having the conversation with our own people. And we have issues right in our own family.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need to handle our stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Primo was resonating with you too. The great late philosopher Heavy D said, I want somebody to love me for me.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. The church doors are open. Do you
Madeline
have somebody
says the
that can love
struggle is
you for
real.
you? That's all we're wondering.
That's right.
That's it. That's the question. I think God loves variety, authenticity, 100%, unconditional acceptance of self and others. To know a person is to love a person. That is all.
That's it.
Thank you for seeking to tackle this. Blessings all. Thank you guys. You guys were amazing tonight.
Thank you guys.
You guys were awesome. You gave us a lot of your time tonight too.
And you stayed until almost 11.
That's what I'm saying, man. I know. Hey, you're gonna have to drink some coffee tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
I was
indeed.
asleep.
I'm so sorry, guys. But thank you. It's been great.
So
worth
everybody has a place that they can be followed. Do you mind sharing where to follow you? We'll start with Deidre. By the way, Deidre,
y'all got to follow Deidre. She is hilarious.
I don't know what reels we're gonna see tomorrow, but I'm excited about them already.
Yes.
So tell us, Deidre, what your handle is, please, so we can follow you on IG.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Instagram, Deidre Nicole, DeidreNichole. And it's just my life. I like to laugh. I like to joke. Just getting into reels and things of that nature. So it's a good time over there. Come on.
She's a good follow. You definitely want to follow her. It's hilarious.
She is so funny.
Chris, you want to give us your handle? I mean,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm not as big on social media these days, but you can follow me at Facebook, Chris Whitaker, WHITTAKER, and then Instagram as well, Whitaker120. Once again, that's WHI2TSAKER.
So Whitaker120 on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I'm on Twitter or something, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't know my name.
What about you, Claudia?
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at I am Claudia Allen. I am Claudia Allen.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you guys are amazing.
much.
So we love you. Thank you for giving us your time. People in the comments are really loving y'all today too. So they're with you the entire time, and they stayed up late as well.
They did.
You know what
We
I'm
kept
saying?
a solid.
The numbers stayed pretty solid the whole time. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah, I
I'm
noticed
number.
that. Yeah. Nice.
And we got our YouTube family on here too. So
saying?
Listen, thank y'all for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so
As
much.
a fan of the show, as a fellow chime,
yay.
it is a pleasure to be a guest.
Apparently there were 330 comments. I didn't know that. That's a lot of comments. So people were in the comments, and we couldn't put a lot of them up. You know what I'm saying?
And I was seeing, so I was like, man, I wish we could put that up. But they had some good stuff to say, y'all.
They really did.
Everybody has some good stuff to say. So we are so glad you're a chime, and we're so glad that you guys are our family. Thank you so much.
And we'll see y'all next time, whenever that is. Hopefully you'll be willing to come on again.
Yes, y'all single and fabulous. So I don't even know how to do that. How you do that? Okay, there we go.
I need y'all, when I do get a man though, I need y'all to bring me back on the show, okay?
When you get a man. Oh,
yes.
please. Of course.
Whenever I do get a man, I can't just always be single and fabulous. When I get married, I want to be on the married show too, okay?
Yeah.
You gonna be on all the shows.
When they see Chris and I, they like, oh, we know what this is about. Them again.
The single episode. Here we go with the single episode.
I am with Deidre. Listen, let me and Deidre's last names change. We want to bring us back. We got
you'll be back.
Okay.
All right,
y'all.
love y'all.
See y'all later.
Bye, guys.
All right, so you
honey.
need to get in the comments now and give us Team Chris and Claudia,
Team Claudia,
and
Team
Deidre. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Ain't no John and April
And
this
Team
time.
April.
Well, whatever.
Okay.
You know what? April always trying to throw that in. You know what I'm saying? So that was a really good conversation tonight.
Ooh, it was.
I really enjoyed that.
It was
The
enlightening.
time flew by really fast
It
too.
did. It was really good. But that just shows the fact that we would go almost 2 hours talking about this. It's
Yeah.
like, that's because we don't talk about it.
And it goes deep.
We have to talk about this.
And there were several things we didn't touch on. Honestly,
I know.
It's a bunch
I mean,
of stuff
we
didn't talk
literally
about.
can stay on hair for like,
Oh yeah, for like an hour by itself.
listen. I had so much more to say about that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I'm glad you didn't take over.
Listen,
You know
I
what I'm saying?
need to get on Claudia's.
Latoya talking about Team Deidre, Julian talking about Team Claudia X,
Team everyone, team
Jackie
all of
Team
them.
everyone, team all of them, Team people of color.
Yes.
Team April and Deidre. You know what? And then all of them.
Thank you,
Kim is
Cam.
hilarious, man. You know what I'm saying? I am Team all three. And then Andrew talking about Team Claudia, Deidre, Chris.
Yes.
And people
somebody said
asking
need
for
a part
two.
two.
Yeah.
Hey, we will.
Team panel. Team dance us out, John.
Come on, man.
I'm
Y'all,
not-
he been dancing on IG. Y'all need to go look
Yeah,
at it.
just look at the reels. You know what I'm saying? You'll see that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Same time next week, Mike. We're going to be right here. You know
And
what I'm
guys,
saying?
we have on
All
the
colors, all
23rd.
shades.
Do we need to talk about that? Should we talk about the 23rd?
We can. We can talk about it next week. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
23rd, we have a special guest. I'm so excited.
Yeah. We have an author of a book.
Have you guys read The Great Sex Rescue?
It's a new book.
It's a new book by
Yeah.
Sheila.
I don't remember Sheila's last name. We got to
What's her
look that
last
up.
name? Yes, but
We're going to have her on the show.
But
She'll
the
be
Great
on the
Sex
23rd.
Rescue, that is not a regular title. So the Great Sex Rescue, awesome book, and the author, y'all, we just DM'd her, just emailed her,
Right.
and she said yes, that she would come on our show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, are you serious? And
So
she
last
is like
Wednesday of February. So next week, I think it'll be just us by ourselves. But
with
but
her.
the week after that,
but the week
it'll
after
be
that. Well,
with
we don't
her.
know yet. Sometimes we be changing stuff up.
That is true. You're
So
right.
don't say nothing. Don't say that.
The point is, come back
Anyway,
next week, same time.
Yes, come back next week, and then the week after that, we will have
Yeah.
Sheila from the Great Sex Rescue. So you have a couple weeks to read the book, so that when you come
Amara
on,
read it already. Such a great book. So glad you're having her on.
Yes,
So she
Amara.
already knows.
So come back, Amara, for that show.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
All y'all come back.
Yes. All right, guys. I know y'all tired.
Yeah, you have to
but
be
y'all
tired.
stuck with us.
Yeah, you did. We'll see y'all next week, though.
I love our chimes.
Yeah, love you guys.
Okay, guys.
Ooh, I like that.